طيب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. صلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. حياكم الله وبياكم. أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا. Welcome everyone to today's session. بارك الله فيكم. In this session, inshallah ta'ala, we are starting the book النحو الصغير. The book النحو الصغير, which stands for small نحو. نحو, we spoke about it during Sunday session. We talked about the science of Nahw. Okay. And we explained how this is a science which you need desperately in order to comprehend the Arabic language. And today's session is open to everyone, for everyone to join. So we have a mixture of enrolled students and students who have not yet enrolled. And the purpose is so that you can see the session and the lesson for yourself, how we conduct things. And after that, I'll also give you a preview of some of the exercises that we have in store, which are going to be posted on the portal tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala. Because indeed, like we said, this science is all about exercise. One of the reasons why a lot of people, they struggle with Arabic grammar and Nahw is because they listen to lectures, they listen to explanations of Nahw concepts, but then they don't practice. So what happens is that because of the fact that Nahw is a science that's interconnected, what you are going to learn today, it is going to be the base and is going to be connected to everything you're going to learn up until the end of the course. It's all connected. So for example, if you take today's lesson and you don't practice, like a lot of people they do, they listen to Nahw explanations without practice. Sometimes it's not their fault. Sometimes the person who gives the class never prepares exercises for them or learning resources to practice with. And sometimes they do, the student just doesn't take it serious. But the point is, if you don't practice, what's going to happen is tomorrow or on Saturday, I'm going to teach you another concept that is related to this concept. And then you will be confused. Why? Because that which you have learned today, which you were meant to establish and make firm by way of practice, you will have forgotten by Saturday. So when I mention new things that are built on what we've done today, you're going to say, Ustad, I'm confused. And when I tell you to write a sentence and implement some of the Nahw rules that you've learned and you make mistakes, you're going to say Nahw is difficult. But in essence, Nahw is not difficult. It is an easy subject to understand and a very easy subject to implement. And the proof for that, do you want to know what makes Nahw easy or why Nahw is easy? Do you want a proof for that? I'm going to give you a proof that is irrefutable. No one can claim that Nahw or implementing Nahw, understanding the Arabic language, it is something that is difficult. Nobody can claim that. Why? Because you will find young children, 4, 5, 6-year-olds, who speak Arabic, yes, and implement these Nahw rules without even thinking about it. واضح? So if a 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old can acquire this language and figure it out subconsciously without even knowing, albeit through immersion, which unfortunately you might not have, but if a 4, 5, 6-year-old can do that and can speak correctly and implement these Nahw rules and can understand fluent Arabic that has Nahw rules applied to it, then so can you. Unless you want to claim that a 4, 5, 6-year-old can do something that you can't. Okay, so I never want to hear that again. I never want to hear the statement, Nahw is difficult to learn or is a difficult subject or hard to understand. No. If it is, you're approaching it wrong. طيب? And the biggest mistake that people make, like I said, is they do not practice. So again, it's not the last time I'm going to remind you, but I want to start off with the start of the lesson with an emphasis on this. What we learned today, we will make available for you exercises on the portal that are specifically related to what we've covered today, make sure that come Saturday, you've done your homework, you've done your assignments, you've practiced, so that you don't fall behind. Okay? If you don't do that and you fall behind, then don't blame anyone but yourself. Type. This book, Barakallahu Fikum, we are going to study it in Arabic. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is I have shared with all of the enrolled students the link to this Google document, right? And you're expected to read what we're going to cover before class. And you have the ability to ask questions, whatever tongue you like, English or Arabic, and comment on anything you don't understand. I will then accommodate for you during class and I'll explain that which you haven't understood in Arabic. واضح? But the goal is that this speech over here that you see in front of you, موضوع النحو وترتيبه اعلم وفقني الله وإياك أن النحو يدرس أحكام الكلمة وأحكام الكلام. This you should understand in Arabic. Am I going to translate it word for word? Only if I have to. But I shouldn't need to. If you read the document and there are comments on the document, then that saves me from having to translate everything word for word, because that means any question you have is there. So anything that has not been highlighted, I can simply jump. But because of the fact that this document was shared a bit late today, and a lot of you still have to complete enrollment, today I will read it in Arabic and I will also explain it in English. Okay? But going forward, inshallah ta'ala, you should be able to understand it in the language that it's written in. Of course, I don't normally teach um, Arabic grammar strictly in Arabic. I don't. Why? Because we have the workshops for the immersion part. In the workshops, it's only Arabic. That's where you listen in Arabic, you reply in Arabic, you interact in Arabic. But the purpose of Nahw, is that you understand it. So why would I make it even more difficult for you to understand if my instruction is only in Arabic? So don't worry about that, inshallah. We will give you as much instruction as you need up until you understand. And I will not continue, I will not finish the whatever we're covering up until all of you, inshallah ta'ala, have understood. Of course, today might be a bit difficult because we have people joining us from many different levels. But I'm just talking about the lesson, generally speaking. Should we all have this PDF, even if we are just trying this out for the free today? I'll send the PDF. The PDF has been sent on the group before. We'll send it on the group again. You can have the PDF, no problem. The PDF is made available by the author for free online. So if someone can repost it on the group, for those that have joined recently, or otherwise I'll post at the end of the class inshallah. Okay. طيب يقول المؤلف حفظه الله موضوع النحو وترتيبه. He starts with the subject of Nahw and how it is organized. Why? Because it's very important. It's very important that when you study something, any science, it is important that you have a good understanding of the structure of that subject. Why? The author gives an example, a very good example that I like. In his explanation is sharh. And the sharh is on the portal as well. So the author has a sharh, an explanation that he has done in a mosque on video. I'll share the playlist link with you guys in the group, inshallah. And that same sharh has been transcribed as a PDF. Okay, now I only advise you to read that sharh if your Arabic is top notch. Otherwise, don't bother. Okay, because it's obviously completely in Arabic. But my job here is to take what's in that sharh and make it easy for you and deliver it in the most easy way possible. So we have, Barakallahu Fikum, one of the brothers has reposted the PDF on the brothers group. We'll forward it to the sisters group as well, inshallah. Okay. طيب. The example that the author gives is that he says, imagine you're out, you're going to the forest, for example, you're out to forage and gather stuff. which obviously all of you are doing. All of you are seekers of knowledge. You're here to seek knowledge and to gather knowledge, yes, and to grab as much of it as you can. Now, imagine someone who goes out seeking something or seeking different things, and he has a bag. And every time he gets something, he just throws it in the bag, chucks it in the bag. Now, when it comes to retrieval, finding a specific item he's put in the bag, yes, how easy is it going to be, or how difficult is it going to be for him to find it when he has a bag full of miscellaneous, full of mixture of things? It's very difficult, right? Very difficult for him to find what he's looking for when he needs it. Why? Because when he stored the knowledge, he didn't store it what? In an organized way. Now, that's the same thing applies to you. When you're studying a new subject and you don't get the bigger picture before going deep into the details, what happens is every time you learn something new, you don't know where to store it. You don't know where to put it. Which means that after 2 or 3 chapters, you're confused. That's why it's important to have this mental model to be like, okay, this subject is organized according to X, Y, and Z. So when you're in chapter 1, you know where that knowledge goes. Okay. And that's why we have mind maps, which we have made for the students for the Sarf course, the Sarf lesson that we did. We took the book, the Sarf al-Saghir, which is basically the brother of Nahw al-Saghir. So the author has 2 books, Sarf al-Saghir and Nahw al-Saghir. And we turned them into mind maps. And we are intending to do the same thing for this course as well, inshallah. Let me just quickly show you the Sarf al-Saghir mind map so you know what I'm talking about. So a mind map that is similar to this. This is the Sarf al-Saghir one. Yes. So that way, everything is organized. Okay. And you can have a quick overview of everything that you have studied. So even for big chapters like this one, for example, these are the main headings. Okay. These are the main subheadings, but then this link tells you that the coming pages is going to go deeper into this topic. So this topic, here you have the main headings, and the next page is going to go deeper into it. So these kind of mind maps, they help a lot. They're very, very useful. So we're going to have one like that as well, inshallah ta'ala, for this book. Now let's start with the author's speech. He says, موضوع النحو وترتيبه اعلم وفقني الله وإياك أن النحو يدرس أحكام الكلمة وأحكام الكلام. He says Nahw is all about 2 things. أحكام الكلمة and أحكام الكلام. Now that might sound like 2 things that are the same. لا. كلمة is 1 word. كلام is speech. Okay? So كلمة is a word. It's like the word you find in a dictionary. If you go to a dictionary, you got a list of words. You'll find a word called قلم, كتاب, مسجد, بيت, ألم, سرور. List of words. Okay? دخل, خرج. These are words, individual words. So Nahw, it actually studies these individual words by themselves. A word in the Arabic language, what are its attributes? Before it becomes part of a sentence, the word itself. So there, we're going to learn about the different parts of speech and blah, 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 and these sort of things, which we mentioned in a moment. Ahkamul kalam, no, ahkamul kalam, now we're talking about these words in a context. When we put them in a sentence, yes, what roles can this word play? So he says, النحو مكون من جزئين كبيرين. Nahw consists of 2 big parts. أحكام الكلمة and أحكام الكلام. Okay, now it goes without saying that أحكام الكلام, or things you learn about sentences, is built on what you know about the word itself. So if you're not strong in أحكام الكلمة, then you are really going to struggle when it comes to أحكام الكلام. Like I said many times before, save the penny and the pound saves itself. Focus on أحكام الكلمة, make sure you understand it properly, which a lot of people, they overlook, they jump it, they quickly go to the sentences and i'rab. No, calm down. Okay, these are the building blocks. So this is one of the things I love about this book. It's organized in a very logical way. Now in this one page, the author will talk about the whole subject of Nahw. He has summarized it into this one page. This is how the whole book, this is how it's organized. Okay, so first we have 2 parts. Looking at the word by itself, and then we have looking at the word when it's part of a sentence. Now I'm going to give you an example so that you know what's meant by this. Let's take you, for example. Okay, you, speaking to all of you, individually and collectively, you have attributes, yes, that belong to you as a human being. You have a name, okay, your profile, you have a name, there's a country where you're from, right? An ethnicity, right? These are things, attributes that are unique to you, okay? These attributes, you always have them. It doesn't change, okay? These are your attributes. Your gender, country you're from, maybe the languages you speak, and so on and so forth. That's what we call ahkamul kalima, for example. These are attributes of an individual person. Okay, now imagine you become part of an organization. You apply for a job and you start working for a company. Now you are a member of a team. Okay, now you will assume new names and new attributes. Yes, you'll be known by at work that you have only got because of your place within the company, right? And this changes. This is not fixed. Today you are a trainee, yes, or an apprentice. Tomorrow you're a full employee, full-time employee. The day after you're a manager. One day maybe you're a CEO, right? These are things that you're known by, yes, that change. Even when it comes to going to school or to college, okay? One day you're a doctor, right? So this is what we call ahkamul kalam. These are things that are specifically understood within the context of the company that you work for, right? Same thing when it comes to words. Words have certain attributes that are specific to the word itself. So let's say the word book, kitab. Kitab is an ism, it's a noun. It will always be a noun. Doesn't matter which sentence it's in. Okay? However, when we put it in a sentence, then kitab might become kitaban, 2 books. It might become kutub, 3 books. Right? It might be kitabun, it might be kitabin, it might be kitaban. Right? These changes. Why these changes? Because of kitab being part of different sentences. Every time it's in a different sentence, it looks slightly different. Maybe it's kitabun, maybe it's al-kitabu, maybe it's kitabin. These changes that kitab, that book, that word goes through, that's what Nahw also studies. But that's what we call ahkamul kalam. So these are the 2 sides of Nahw. Okay? But the 3 things that are related to ahkamul kalima, to the word itself, before it's part of a sentence, is number 1, anwa'ul kalima, the parts of speech. So Arabic, all the words in the Arabic language, all of them. Open the Quran from beginning till end. Every word that you will come across will belong to one of 3 categories. It will either be ism, fi'l, or harf. And all of you have heard this, I'm sure, a ton of times. So I won't spend much time on it. That's one thing. And like I said, an ism is an ism. Doesn't matter if it's part of this sentence or another sentence, it will always be an ism. A fi'l, a verb is a verb. Doesn't matter which sentence it's part of. Another thing that Nahw studies is if the ism is nakira or ma'rifah. We'll talk about that inshallah when the time is right. But nakira and ma'rifah is that, are you talking about a specific person? Like Muhammad? Or are you speaking generally? Are you talking about a specific book? Al-Kitab? Let's say the kitab we're studying now. Al-Kitab الذي ندرسه الآن. هذا الكتاب النحو الصغير. I would say Al-Kitab. ندرس الكتاب. Okay, but or am I speaking generally? Am I saying kitabun, any book? This is called nakir and ma'rifah. We'll talk about that in more detail. And then finally, we have انقسام الكلمة إلى معرب ومبني. A kalima can also be a mu'rab. It can be a kalima, a word that changes. The ending, the harakat at the end, they might change. fatha, kasra, dhamma, depending on what sentence it's in. But there are also certain words that don't change. They never change. Such as, for example, pronouns. Huwa is always huwa. You will never come across huwi or huwu. Never. Anta is always anta. It will not become anti or antu. Okay? These are words that are mabni. These are words that are fixed. They never change. Now, knowing if a word is mu'rab or mabni is extremely important. Why? Because based on it being mu'rab or mabni, it is going to have a hukum or a ruling that is specific to it. So the ahkamul kalam, like I said, that we're going to study later, it depends on ahkamul kalima. So you can't take a word that never changes like huwa or anta or alladhi. You can't say, oh, okay, now it is marfu' or mansub or majroor. No, 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 no. It doesn't change. It doesn't become, the fatha does never becomes a dhamma or kasra never becomes a fatha. It stays the way it is. So because of the fact that it's mabni, it's dealt with in a completely different way. واضح? This is what we call في الجزء الأول. That's what we're going to talk about first. Okay? After that, we're going to talk about قسم الكلام. Okay, now that we know the attributes of each word by itself, before it's part of a sentence, now let's talk about how we take these words and we make sentences. And I'm going to give you some good examples, inshallah ta'ala, in today's class. Okay? The difference between a word by itself, as a dictionary entry, for example, the way you see it in dictionary, or that word as part of a sentence, and how we mix words to make sentences. This is what we study in ahkam al-kalam. In other words, how do you structure sentences? Do we just take words like that and just slap them together and make word soup? No. You have to follow certain rules. So, based on that, we have two types of sentences in Arabic. Al-jumlatul fi'liya, a sentence that starts with a verb, and al-jumlatul ismiya, a sentence that starts with a ism. Going forward, by the way, I'm going to stick to the Arabic terminology. Okay? Going forward, I'm going to try and stick to the Arabic terminology. That is the difference between this course and previous courses that I have done for total beginners, which is in this course, I'm not going to translate the terminology. Fi'l is fi'l. Ism is ism. I'll help you understand it in Arabic, but I'm not going to say noun and verb and definite and indefinite. We don't do that business in this course. Okay? الجملة الفعلية is a jumla that has a fi'l, that starts with a fi'l. A jumla ismiya is a jumla that starts with an ism. What's a fi'l? What's an ism? We'll talk about that in a moment once we start talking about anwa'ul kalima, which is the next topic in the next page. Okay? So when you look at jumla fi'liya, that jumla fi'liya is going to have pillars that is built on. That's what we're going to study first. Then we have jumla ismiya. That jumla ismiya has pillars that is built on. There are things that are the minimum requirement to have a jumla ismiya. And there are things that are the minimum requirement to have jumla fi'liya. That's what we're going to study in these two chapters. After we're done with that and we know what the basic sentence structure of Arabic is, then we're going to talk about mukammilat al-jumlatain. Mukammilat al-jumlatain, which basically is what are the extra details we can add to a sentence? Things that are not part of the basic structure of a sentence. And again, once again, I repeat, I love the way the author has organized the book. Honestly. It's very important that you learn basic sentence structure first, and then you spend time learning about the extras. So the mukammilat al-jumlatain min mansubat wa majrurat wa tawabi'. There are these three things. Things you can add to a sentence are either mansub or majroor or their tawabi'. Okay, tawabi' is nothing separate. It's basically, it follows the previous words. What does that tell us? It tells us that marfu' is missing. How about marfu'? Marfu' is always the pillar of the sentence. So automatically you already have an understanding of what the purpose of i'rab is. And what we mean by marfu'. Marfu' in Arabic means elevated, an elevated status. So those things that are marfu', they have dhamma. Why do they have dhamma? It's because They are part of the basic sentence structure. These things have a high status. They're very important. They are the ones, without them, the sentence wouldn't exist. Okay? So here we study the marfu'at, the things that are marfu' in a jumla fi'liya, and here we study the things that are marfu' in jumla ismiya. Then we talk about, okay, mansub. How about the extra things? Okay? And then finally, we talk about i'rab al-fi'l al-mudari'. What's the i'rab of fi'l mudari'? And again, I love the way he's put that last. Why? Because the i'rab of fi'l mudari', it is the easiest, and it normally doesn't cause any confusion if you make a mistake on it. Okay? So if a fi'l mudari' is dhamma or fatha, normally it doesn't cause confusion. There are places that are ambiguous, that if you don't put a sukoon and you put dhamma instead, there's confusion. They do exist, but for the most part, there isn't. Why? Because a fi'l mudari' it becomes mansoob when it's preceded by specific words, and it's also majzoom when it's preceded by specific words. So it's very easy. Like you have this word, it's going to be mansoob. You have this word, it's going to be majzoom. Whereas things like mansoobat and tawabi and the likes that we have studied before that, they don't have a fixed place within the sentence. They could be anywhere. So they require a bit more understanding. This is the overview of what we're going to study in Nahw. Now, if you have studied Nahw before, you will have understood what I was talking about. If you haven't studied Nahw before, then it could be that you're a bit confused, which is understandable because I was using terminology and words that you probably never heard of before. So it's not a big problem. Yes. The requirement for this course is that you have a basic understanding of Arabic language as a language. It's not a requirement that you have studied Nahw before. Okay. But before I continue, let me just double check that we're clear. And then we're going to go on to the first chapter, inshallah, after this quick introduction or overview of Nahw, where we talk about the different categories of speech. Are we clear? Let me share the WooClap link. I thought I shared it. Sorry. So join me on WooClap because you are going to participate in this class, inshallah. I'm going to have some interesting questions for you to answer. But the very first question I want you to answer is, are we clear or not? If you have any questions, feel free to ask, inshallah. Barakallah feekum. What's the basic requirement for this class? The basic requirement is that you have a basic understanding of Arabic, whereby you know that document that we have, you understand not all of it, but a good part of it. That is the requirement. That you understand the book, a good part of what's written here. If you don't understand all of it, it's no problem. We will explain. But if you have no Arabic vocabulary, this is completely alien to you, you don't understand any of this, then probably this lesson is not for you. What's for you, inshallah, is the Arabiya Beni Day course that we're going to start 2 to 3 weeks from now, inshallah. 3 weeks after Eid. Okay? Type. Okay. So let's start with the first part, which is أحكام الكلمة. باب أنواع الكلمة. This is the most crucial chapter. The most crucial chapter. As a matter of fact, the author, he calls it الضرورة الأولى. He says the most important thing, the first necessity, he calls it this, which is that when you see a word and you want to analyze that word grammatically speaking, step number one is what part of speech, what نوع من أنواع الكلمة is this word. If you get that wrong, everything after that will be wrong. Everything that comes after it's going to be wrong. If you miscategorize it from the beginning, whereby you think that this ism is a fi'l, or this fi'l is an ism, or that this ism is a harf, you're doomed when it comes to that particular word. and probably you're doomed when it comes to the sentence. واضح? So it is absolutely crucial that you understand the difference between an ism, a fi'l, and a harf. Now, understanding the difference between ism, fi'l, and harf, it can be done in a very dry, if you like, detailed way. Or it can be done in a way whereby you have an understanding of the differences between these words. واضح? For example, imagine you have two animals, a dog and a cat, right? Someone who's never heard of a dog and a cat, if you try to explain the difference between dog and a cat, so that when he sees one of those two creatures, he can tell if it's a dog or a cat. If you try to give him specific principles, is much more difficult than him actually understanding the general overview of what dogs and cats are and what they do and how they behave. Okay? So for that reason, I want you to have an understanding of ism and fi'l overall in terms of their meaning, as opposed to what a lot of the books of Nahw they do, which is they say to you, these are alamat al-ism, look for these signs. If it's preceded by this, or this comes after it, or this comes before it, I find that a bit difficult. So that's why I'm going to show you something that those of you that have done the Grammar Made Easy course with me will find familiar, because we've covered this before. And I'm going to share this with you. If it's the first time you're seeing it, no problem. I'll share it with you. And if you have access to it, then alhamdulillah, which is this mind map, or this table that I've created to differentiate between the three parts of Arabic speech. Now, in this table, the focus is more on meaning and purpose than it is specific signs. There are signs. I have mentioned some signs here, according to what the books mention. Not all of them, but the most important ones. But I think what's more important is that you understand what the concept of ism is, what the concept of fi'l is, because they are two completely different concepts. Okay? An ism is a label. That's what it is, basically. An ism is a name for something. Something that either physically exists in the real world that you can touch or feel or smell, or something that exists in your brain, like a concept or an abstract idea. Those things have names, they have labels. These labels allow us to differentiate. Now, for example, هذا كتاب وهذا قلم, right? We call this kitab, we call this qalam, so that if I say to you, for example, أعطني الكتاب, you know what I'm talking about. So this thing, we have named it kitab. It's ism, and it's something that we can touch. Okay? And this thing that we write with, we've named it qalam. Okay, so whenever you hear the word qalam, you know what I'm talking about. That's an ism. Or you have other things, like I said, that you can't touch, you can't feel, abstract ideas. For example, love, hope, pain, fear, ideas, class, lesson, ders. I say to you, الدرس اليوم في الساعة التاسعة. The ders is at 9 o'clock. When I say ders, you know what I'm talking about. You're talking about this experience you're going through right now, which is you being in the Zoom class and I'm talking to you, instructing you, teaching you something. This is what we call ders. All of you know it. But it's not something you can touch, but it has a name. A ders is a lot different from laib, playing. They're both abstract ideas, but we've given them different names. So Allah Ta'ala says about Adam, you all know the story of Adam and Iblis. Allah said, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. And Allah has taught Adam the names of everything. What is this? There's an apple, that's an orange, this is a house, Allah has taught him the names of everything. Okay? Right. That is an ism. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. Asma, which is plural of ism. طيب, how about fi'l then? What's the difference, the main difference between ism and fi'l? The biggest difference between ism and fi'l is tense, time. Fi'l is something that happens. It's an action. And that action has a specific time. So we got three tenses. We have past, present, and future. A fi'l has to fall into one of those three tenses. That's why a fi'l can always answer the question when. But an ism can never answer the question when. واضح? So if you hear the word مثلا أكل محمد تفاحة. أكل محمد تفاحة. أكل, that word. أكل. أكل محمد. When it comes to the word أكل, can it answer the word متى? When? Yes, it can. أكل أمس, yesterday. أكل قبل ساعة, an hour ago. Okay, why? Because أكل is past tense. طيب يأكل محمد تفاحة. Muhammad's eating an apple. Can it answer the question when? Yes, it can. يأكل. متى يأكل? يأكل الآن. You see, we can say متى يأكل. متى, when يأكل. When does he eat? متى أكل. متى سيأكل. But we can't say متى كتاب. We can't put متى in front of a noun. We can't say متى قلم. Okay, واضح? All right. And a noun is an answer to who or what. A verb can't be an answer to who or what. Okay? So مثلا the verb ate. Yes? يعني does the word ate itself tell me who ate? No, it doesn't. It could be you, it could be me, it could be Abdurrahman, it could be Khalid, it could be our friend, it could be a dog. If I say أكل, it doesn't tell me who did it. صح? That I need a noun for. I have to say أكل محمد. Muhammad will tell me who. Khalid will tell me who. Abdurrahman, Fatima. طيب, that's how I want you to understand. Why? Because, barakallahu fikum, this will help you when you're reading an Arabic sentence, because most of the time it's either one of two things. Either you know the meaning of the word or you don't. صح? And let me tell you guys. If you're reading an Arabic sentence and you come across a word, either you know the meaning of the word or you don't. If you know the meaning of the word, then alhamdulillah, you, with an understanding of what ism and fi'l is, you should be able to know if it's an ism or fi'l. Why? Because one talks about it's a name for something, and the other one talks about something that has happened. If you don't know the meaning of the word, then knowing which part of speech it is the least of your worries. Go and find out what the meaning of the word is first. صح? So that's why I want you to focus on the concept. Is it clear? Do you feel like now you have a better understanding of what's meant by ism and fi'l? Why do I say this? Because the whole of the Arabic language is built on this. Because if we have the Arabic language, all of the sentences in Arabic language, we can put them in two buckets. Every single sentence in the Arabic language belongs to one of two categories. What are they? Let me ask you right now. Let's see which of you guys was paying attention. Okay? So every single sentence in the Arabic language belongs to one of two categories. What are those two categories? Answer on Google. Every single sentence in the Arabic language. Every sentence you come across. Right now, if I open the Quran and I read an ayah in the Quran, yes, and the ayah is a sentence or a sentence within the ayah, I can take the ayah, I can put it in one of two categories. Put it there. Next ayah, put it here. Next ayah, put it there. What are these two categories? لا, it's not فعل الاسم. No. It's not فعل الاسم. You have to be paying attention for you to know. أيوة, أحسنتم. I've got some good correct answers in Zoom. نعم. It's either جملة اسمية or جملة فعلية. أحسنت. So any sentence I come across. Let me open the Quran. Let's see. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أفترى على الله كذبا أم به جنة. أفترى على الله كذبا. جملة فعلية. Okay. بل الذين لا يؤمنون بالآخرة. جملة اسمية. أفلم يروا إلى ما بين. جملة فعلية. And so on and so forth. Okay. Every single ayah, Every single sentence, not I could have multiple sentences in it. Every sentence belongs to one of two categories. Now, knowing that shows you the importance of knowing fi'l and ism, the difference between them. Why? Because if a jumla is ismi or fi'liya is determined by what? Is determined by the first word. If that first word is an ism, is jumla ismiya. If that first word is a fi'l, is jumla fi'liya. Now, what if the first word is harf, which is the third category? Then we just go to the next word. Because the harf, there is no jumla harfiya. Jumla harfiya doesn't exist. It's either ismi or fi'liya. So if the first word of the sentence is actually a particle or a harf, which sometimes precedes a noun or precedes a verb, لا بأس. We just look at what comes after the harf. That will determine. So the first of these two that we come across, if it's ism or fi'l, will determine if the jumla is ismi or fi'liya. Now let me tell you this. The jumla being ismi or fi'liya makes all the difference when it comes to the structure of that sentence and the meaning of that sentence. Because they're completely two different sentences. One is talking about something that has happened or is happening or will happen. Another sentence making a statement. It's telling you that this is that or this is not that. So they're two different complete sentences in terms of understanding and meaning. واضح? Okay, so I'm going to share this with you, inshallah. I want you to read it. It's in English. You have the examples in Arabic and English. You have the signs. Okay, these are the signs. The author, we're going to go back to the book right now. I'm going to show you what the author has mentioned. The author has given, let's go to the ism, for example. Let's start with the ism. He said, الاسم كل كلمة تقبل التنوين أو أو الندى أو حرف جر. He's giving you four signs. أولا كل كلمة تقبل التنوين. Any word that accepts a tanween. It's an ism. Why? Because فعل and حرف will never have tanween. What is tanween? Tanween is like two fathas, two kasras, two dhammas. That it has to be one of the clearest signs. Secondly, أو ال. Or any word that is preceded by al, which means the. Because al cannot precede a fi'l or a harf. Definite article al, what we call that makes a word ma'rifah, it can only come before an ism. أو الندى, or it being preceded by what we call harf nida, that you can call it. You can say, Ya Muhammad, Ya Khalid, Ya Abdurrahman, Ya Ummi, Ya Kalb, Ya Qitta. All these are what? They are munada, which means it's an ism. Okay? Because you can call that person. Okay? Or it is preceded by harf jar. It's preceded by what? Harf jar. Harf jar are a small group of words, are huruf. If you see it, then know what comes after it is an ism. And this one I find actually to be very important. Why? Because there's a lot of words sometimes people, they find it difficult to understand how it's an ism. So for example, the question words, such as aina. Let me ask you guys, aina. Is aina an ism or a fi'l or a harf? Aina. Okay. I'm going to ask you this question now. What part of speech does the word aina belong to? So is it an ism? Is it a fi'l? Or is it a harf? Okay. I want you to answer that question, and I'm going to select the correct answers. Let's see. Bismillah. You can answer the WooClap. أين? Is it اسم فعل or حرف? Okay, so it is very clear from your answers here on WooClap and in Zoom that the vast majority, vast majority, believes that أين is a harf. Okay. All right. That is wrong answer. That is wrong answer. And there's a very easy way to prove to you why that's wrong answer. So those of you that said it's an ism, why? Can you explain? I'll explain it to you in the easiest way possible. But let's see those of you that said it's an ism. Do you know why? Someone said it can stand alone. Now there's a more clear reason, much clearer reason than that. Okay? How many of you have studied the book Al-Arabi Bayn Yadayk? Okay? In the book Arabi Bayn Yadayk, in the very first dialogue, yes, it says, Min ayna anta. What does it say? Min ayna anta. طيب. What did the author just tell us? What did he just say? What are one of the alamat al-ism? Huh? That you have, I'm sure, 100 times. I'm sure you've heard it 100 times. In Ajrumiya, any of you that has done grammar before, you must have heard 100 times that one of the clearest signs of an ism is that it's preceded by harf jar. طيب الآن you have min أين أنت. Isn't أين preceded by a harf jar? Isn't min a harf jar? So if min is a harf jar, how can أين be a harf as well? How's that possible? That shows you that أين is an ism. It's not it's not a harf. It's not a harf. Okay? That's why take this as a rule. All of the question words in Arabic, all of the adawat al-istifham, they are all asma. All of them are nouns. They're all asma, except for two. هل and a. هل and a. يعني the hamza a. يعني هذا كتاب a. The a is a harf. هل هذا كتاب is a harf. هل is a harf. Why? Because you can't say min hal kitab. You can't say min hal kitab. But you can say min aina. Okay? You can say إلى من. إلى من كتبت هذه الرسالة. إلى من. من is ism. Why? It's preceded by a harf. Okay? Now, of course, I can explain in a much more, if you like, in a much more detailed way. I can explain to you how aina and men is actually an ism by telling you its role within the sentence. If it's either fa'il or mubtada or khabar, I can talk about that. We'll talk about that later. But before we even go there, harf jar came before it. So that's why these alamat that they give you in the books of grammar, they're actually very beneficial. And I'm going to say to you, they're not beneficial when it comes to actual comprehension of the sentence directly, because you don't have time to go through all of the alamat in order to figure out. But they are very beneficial for what? They're beneficial for what we call troubleshooting. This is it's kind of checklist that you can have, that whenever you get stuck and you want to troubleshoot, that's when you come back to these alamat. Okay? But don't try and rely on it when it comes to your live comprehension of speech. Then you get lost. Your live comprehension is something that you will acquire. It's something that will develop as you study. It's a skill that you gain. The more you read, the more you listen, the more you speak, the more you write. It will come automatically. Don't worry. Just keep on practicing. But this helps with troubleshooting. If you and someone disagree with each other, yes, then you can check these things out. Okay? If you find any of these alamat, you've won the debate. If you don't, you lost. All right? So here the author gave some examples. Allah, wa Muhammad, wa Masjid, wa Sajid, wa Sujud, wa Uffin, wa Kaf al-Khitab. Uffin. How do you know Uffin is ism? Because it's got tanween. Okay? Because it's got tanween. Then we have kaf al-khitab, which is the kaf of someone that you are addressing, is basically a pronoun. يعني kitabuka, for example. Or when you're speaking to someone and you say يعني kaf al-khitab. على أي حال, that is also an ism. How do you know that it's an ism? Well, it doesn't have tanween. It doesn't accept al, because it's dhamir. You can't say ya ka or ya kum. But it is preceded by harf jar. You can say minka, minka, ilayka, alayka. That's why we know that kaf al-khitab as a pronoun, it is an ism. طيب واضح. Okay, these are the signs of an ism. And return back to the table as well to get a better understanding of it. It gives you a summary, it gives you examples, it gives you the signs. From the signs, we've chosen three. Tanween, preceded by al and harf jar. You can add nida to it as well, but nida doesn't really apply to many nouns. So these three are enough, in my opinion. And then you got a Quranic example, color coded with the correct color. Inna Allahu malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. طيب. So with that, we have done the ism. Let's go to the fi'l. والفعل ثلاثة أقسام ماض ومضارع وأمر. Here the Sheikh, he didn't even define what fi'l is. Sometimes you define something by just categorizing it, right? So that's what he has done over here. He said, forget fi'l, me telling what fi'l is, just know that it is three types, ماضي مضارع أمر, because automatically you'll find that there's tense associated. فعل ماضي, فعل مضارع, فعل أمر. And then he's giving you signs for each. The فعل ماضي, فعل مضارع, and فعل أمر. How to differentiate between فعل ماضي, فعل مضارع, and فعل أمر. This is one of the only books, one of the few books I've seen that gives you signs to differentiate between different types of verbs. Most books, they just talk about how to differentiate between ism and fi'l. But this book also tells us how to differentiate between fi'l ماضي, fi'l مضارع, and fi'l أمر. However, having said that, a lot of the signs that authors mention in their books that you can use to differentiate between different words, they are only useful to native speakers of the language. Why? I'll tell you why. Because for example, here he says, الفعل الماضي كل كلمة تقبل تاء التأنيث الساكنة نحو سجد. So he's saying to you that any word that if you add a ta with sukun at the end, it becomes feminine, then know that that is fi'l ماضي. So sajada, if we add ta with sukun at the end, it becomes sajadat. Does it now give us the meaning of it being feminine? Yes. Okay, then it's a fi'l ماضي. But why is it not suitable for someone who's not a native speaker of the language? Because if you don't know the meaning of the word and you add a ta with sukun, you still wouldn't know if it's wrong or right. You might say qalamat for all, for whatever reason. You might think, oh no, qalam is a fi'l madi. Why? Because I can say qalamat. Oh yeah. No. Because for you, you don't even know. If you don't even know what qalam means, then adding a ta with sukun is no big deal, right? But for someone who has, the author mentions, as-saliqatul arabiyyah, he has that feeling for the language because he's a native speaker or because he's been immersed in the language for so long, he has a feeling for the language, whereby if you were to say, for example, يعني, give me a noun, kitabat, for example. Okay, kitabat, maybe that might be ta marbuta. Give me another. I use qalam and kitab too many times. Let's use, for example, a noun such as Khalid. Khalid. It's a person's name, right? Khalidat. Does it make sense? No, it doesn't. So we can't say Khalidat. Okay, Khalidat would not be a fi'l madi. Okay, how about differentiating between it and mudari'? Well, if you have, for example, yashrabu, can you say yashrabut at the ta sukun at the end? No, you can't. To make it feminine, you say tashrabu. That shows you as well that it is what? Fi'l mudari'. Barakallah fikum. That's fi'l madi, sorry. How about fi'l mudari'? Fi'l mudari' says any word where you can put a lam in front of it. Lam. Such as lam nasjud, lam yasjud. But again, like I said, these signs don't really benefit you if you don't have the feeling for the language. All right? I say to you, it's far better, yes, that you practice your verb conjugation so much that you start recognizing the patterns. That's far better and far easier. That you start practicing verb conjugation, going from madi to mudari to amr. You do that a lot up until you start recognizing the pattern. When you do that, you don't need any of these signs. Okay? Maybe you just need it for troubleshooting, like we said. And then finally, al-harf. كل كلمة لا تقبل شيئا مما سبق. Any word that does not have any of these signs. It doesn't have al, it can't accept tanween, it kind of حرف الجر in front of it. That's what we call حرف. Okay, so حرف itself doesn't really have specific signs. It's just that if it's not an ism, it's not a fi'l, it has to be a حرف. Okay, and حرف again is easy. Why? Because حروف in the Arabic language, as powerful as they are, and as frequently as they're used in terms of number, they're very limited. Maybe 50, 60 حروف at most in the whole language. So you don't need to worry about it. A harf you will recognize because it is just a word you see so often that you will recognize it. Min, lam, hal, you recognize it easily. So you don't need to worry about that, inshallah. So this is the anwa' al-kalima. Okay. With that, we've covered today موضوع علم النحو, and we also covered باب أنواع الكلمة. And next lesson we'll talk about باب النكرة والمعرفة and باب المعرب والمبني. But before I go, I want you to implement something. We're going to do a little experiment. We're going to do a little experiment. Why? Because I had 3 objectives for today's class. Objective number 1 is to talk about the unique attributes of the 3 parts of speech, which you'll find in this table that I'll share with you. Go over it, remind yourself of it, so that you can recognize, so that you know what attributes every part of speech has. There's still a lot to be covered. Still a lot to be covered when it comes to unique attributes of parts of speech. As in, we still need to talk about what are the attributes that are specific to nouns, and what are the attributes that are specific to verbs. That as well, I have created tables for, okay, which I'm going to share with you. I hope you can see my screen. Yes. So we have this, the noun attributes table. So a noun has 4 attributes. It has uh, gender. It's either مذكر or مؤنث. This is in English. I'm probably going to make this to Arabic for you guys. What do you guys think? Do you think I should make it Arabic? Or should I'll give you the English and the Arabic, لا بأس. I'll give you the English and the Arabic, inshallah. Okay? So it has a gender, number, definiteness, and case. So this we'll talk about next lesson, inshallah. Because it's related to the next chapter of nakir and ma'rifah. So we're going to cover this next lesson. And then we got verbs as well. Verbs also have specific attributes: type, transitivity, case, and subject. That as well we'll talk about next lesson. Okay? But that brings me to the final objective, which I want you guys not just to hear, I want you to experience, which is, what is i'rab and what's the point of it? Okay? Because Nahw is all about i'rab. So what is i'rab? I'rab, barakallahu fikum, is the changing of the fatha, kasas, and dammas at the end of a word. So the fact that sometimes you see kitabun, sometimes you see kitaban, sometimes you see kitabin. Your name, let's say you are Abu Abdullah. Abu Abdullah, Abu Abdullah, that's your name. Oh, that's your kunya, sorry. Yes? You will see sometimes in Arab, he'll say to you, you will see your name as Abu Abdullah. Okay? All right? Or sometimes you'll see it as Aba Abdullah. Okay, let's take Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, for example. Yes, or any of the companions, or anyone that had a kunya of Abu Abdullah. You'll find that in the books, sometimes they are referred to as Aba Abdullah, Abu Abdullah, Abi Abdullah. Abu Huraira in the books, sometimes you see Abu Huraira, sometimes you see Aba Huraira, sometimes you see Abi Huraira. Now, if you don't know Arabic, you might think they're 3 different people. No, it's the same person. So why is it sometimes Abu Huraira, Abi Huraira, Aba Huraira? Why? It is because of i'rab. So what is i'rab and what's the point of it? I'm not going to explain it to you. Yes, I'm going to show you. I want you to take these 4 words. I'm going to give you 4 words. And then I want you to create a sentence using these 4 words. واضح? Okay? So let's take this one. We have ضربت. Okay? مدرس, and Hakim. Okay? I want you to take those 4 words and I want you to write a sentence with full harakat. add the harakat. Okay? So that's my question to you. Okay? Right? I don't care which order you put the sentences in, but just make sure you use all four words. And you don't need to add any other words, just strictly those four words only. Okay? ضربت مدرس and حكيم. All right? Bismillah. There you go. Go ahead. This جملة فعلية right now because we have a فعل involved. After this, we're going to do جملة اسمية as well, inshallah. So I want you to write me a جملة فعلية. Okay? Write me a جملة فعلية that starts with ضربت. Okay? Maybe I shouldn't even have said ضربت. Maybe you can do ضربة. It's up to you. I don't care if you do ضربة or ضربت. That's also something that's grammatic. You can make it ضربة, ضربت. These are أحكام كلام. It's up to you to keep the ta or to remove it. I just want a sentence. Okay? Make sure you add and نعم. Make sure you add harakat to the endings of the word. Even if you don't add at the beginning, middle, end, no problem. But the last letter of the word has to have harakat. Has to have harakat. It could be a fatha, it could be a kasra, it could be a dhamma, it could be two fathas, two kasras, or two dhammas. Okay? But make sure you add it. No, no, no. إيش أحب أمي بارك الله فيك. I want a sentence where you use all four words. ضربت مدرس and حكيم. Okay? Okay, here we have a sentence. ضرب مدرس حكيما. Okay. ضرب مدرس حكيما. Okay. Here we have ضربت حكيم المدرس. مدرس ضربت حكيم. All right. Now I'm going to show you the possibilities. Okay. I wish there was more time. What I would have done is I would have given you one Arabic sentence with four possible translations. I would get you to choose the correct one. Or I've given you an English sentence with four Arabic possibilities. You could have given me, you could have chosen the correct one. But no labas. Let's do this together right now. And this is just to show you the importance of Arab. Okay. After this, you'll understand what we mean by Arab. So we have darab, darabat, we have hakim, and darabat. Which order do we put in? ضربت نعم مدرس حكيم. Okay. I'll put in the same order. Okay. Okay. These are the possibilities. I can say ضربت. Okay, I'm not going to add all of the harakat. I'm just going to add the harakat at the end so that you see what we were focusing on. Let's say ضربت. Okay. I can say أم. أم. Okay. And then I can write المدرس المدرسي. And then I can write حكيما. That's one sentence. I'm going to write all the different sentences and then we'll take it from there. The other sentence would be ضربت ضربت الأم المدرسة الحكيمة. That's another one. Okay? Or let's have another one. How about we have ضربت الأم مدر مدرس أو مدرسة حكيم. Okay, we have three so far. ضربت أم المدرس حكيما. ضربت الأم المدرسة الحكيمة. Okay, ضربت الأم مدرسة حكيم. Okay, let's stick with these three. I can make more, like, but let's stick with these three. Okay, let's stick with these three. Now, what I want you to do is, I'm going to give you an English translation for one of these sentences, and then I want you to choose the correct one. Okay? Okay? I could also change the order of the words. Okay, but I decided not to do that. Just to keep things simple. We can make it so much. There's so many. The possibilities are unbelievable. There's so much. But let's just do right now. I'm going to, like I said, write all these Arabic sentences that I just wrote in the answers. I'm going to write for you one English translation, and I want you to choose which one it is. Okay? Okay? I want you to choose which one it is. I decided to hide this so that you don't see the correct answer. Okay? Okay, you guys ready? Huh? Bismillah. Yalla. The mother hit Hakim's teacher. Is it ضربت أم المدرس حكيما? Or is it ضربت الأم المدرس الحكيمة? Or is it ضربت الأم مدرس حكيم? Okay, let me hide the results. I don't want people to be copying each other or the likes. What do you guys think the correct answer is? Now, with this example, and like I said, I could have added more sentences to confuse you even more. But with this example, I'm trying to get across what? The importance of i'rab. This is what we call i'rab. Did you not notice, my dear brothers and sisters, that when it came to these sentences that I just wrote, how we changed the ending of each word? Sometimes we added an alif lam, yes, that's also part of Nahw. But look, here is got a kasra, mudarris. Here mudarris got fatha. Here Hakim's got two fathas. Here Hakim's got one fatha. Here Hakim's got two kasras. Okay? These differences that you can see, or the presence or absence of alif lam, it creates a completely different sentence with a completely different meaning. And I'm going to show you that, inshallah. Okay? Right now, let's see how many of you got it right and how many of you got it wrong. Okay, it seems like the majority of you said the third one. Naam. So, alhamdulillah, that means you guys understood the mudaf ilayh. Because we have here mudarrisa hakimin. This mudaf ilayh. So we call mudaf ilayh. Okay? Hakim's teacher. Okay? Now let me give you another example. Um, I want you to answer this now. I'm going to translate another one of the two sentences. And you need to choose which one it is. Okay? But as you can see, I think 2/3 of you got it right. So this shows you the importance of i'rab. For those of you that got it wrong, if you knew what we call mudaf ilayh and how the mudaf ilayh always has kasra, you would have understood this sentence. طيب. Okay. Now we have another sentence. This sentence says, the mother hit the wise teacher. The mother hit the wise teacher. What is the correct answer for that? Okay. The mother hit the wise teacher. Now, what I want you to know here is that look at how in the previous example, we did not even write wise. We wrote Hakim, which is a person's name. And here, that same word Hakim, it's not a person's name anymore. It became a description for someone. A wise teacher as opposed to a silly teacher, an ignorant teacher, and an unwise teacher, if you like, right? Now it became an adjective, a description of the teacher. Whereas in the previous sentence, it was a person's name. How did that come about? Because of the Arab. It did not just change the function of the word within the sentence, actually the whole meaning of the word changed. واضح? Because Salih could mean a righteous man, but it could also be someone's name. How would you know? You know through the context. واضح? So this one here, we said the mother hit the wise teacher. What would be the correct answer? Okay, let's see what you guys said this time. I've got the feeling you've done much better this time. Nah, mashallah. Okay. Because the options are less. Before you had to choose between three options, now the only two. Now, so the correct answer is ضربت الأم المدرس الحكيمة. Okay, so here, in this example, the teacher got hit. Okay, so the next question is, how would you translate this sentence? Now let's see if you guys are smart. Okay, you've done everything so far, mashallah, really good. But this is like the ultimate test, okay? If that's the case, then how about you translate this? I want you to translate this one. Translate this sentence. Okay? ضربت أم المدرس حكيما. Now I want you to translate that. ضربت أم المدرس حكيما. Okay. This one we said it means that the mother hit the wise teacher. How do we know? Well, we know in multiple ways. Number one, we know that the mother did the hitting because she has a dhamma. And we know the teacher got hit because he has a fatha. If it was opposite, if this was ضربة, okay, this would change obviously. Agreement helps. This shows you agreement as well. The fact that it's darabat shows us that the did the hitting as well, because is feminine and the verb is feminine. Okay? But if we said daraba, for example, and we said al umma, we said darabat, and we said al umma and al mudarrisu, then it would be opposite. The teacher has hit the mom. Okay? And al hakima is an adjective. Why? Because it has the same fatha as mudarris. Okay? But this one is different. Why is it different? Let's see what you guys translated it to. The mother's teacher hit Hakim. The teacher's mother beat Hakim. The teacher's mom hit Hakim. The teacher's mother hit Hakim. MashaAllah. The mother hit the teacher wisely. I like that one. La. No, 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 no. She didn't hit the teacher wisely. If that was the case, and Hakiman was hal, what we call hal, as in adverb, telling us how she hit him, then there would have been agreement between Hakim and It would have been Hakimatan. Even though it doesn't make sense, but if that were the case, the first thing that tells you that it can't be wisely is because Hakim, this word would have agreed with It would have been feminine. Okay? Naam. So the teacher's mother hit Hakim. Or she hit a wise man. It can be both correctly. Hakim and here could mean a person called Hakim, or it could be a wise man, depending on the context. Okay? طيب, barakallah feek. I was going to do the same thing with jumla ismiya. I was going to give you 4 words for jumla ismiya, but inshallah we'll do that for next lesson. I'm going to give you 4 words for jumla ismiya. You're going to create sentences. And next time, inshallah, we'll create like 4, 5, 6 sentences. And we're going to translate them. Or I'm going to get you to choose the correct translation. Just to start off next week's lesson, just to get the ball rolling. But the point here is, I wanted to get the point across, which is, do you now understand what we mean by i'rab. Instead of me talking all day about i'rab is this, i'rab is that, blah blah blah, I wanted to give you a practical example. So do you now understand the significance of i'rab and how it makes a difference and its use? Its use. Okay? Does it make sense now why in Arabic we made such a big difference, we make such a big deal out of putting a fatha or a dhamma or a kasra? Okay? Right now we say to you mudaf, mudaf ilayh. Mudaf ilayh always has kasra. Does it make sense now why? Because it affects the meaning directly. Okay? Super important. Okay? And I'm gonna finish off with a story. And finish off with a story. 80%. Okay, not bad. Okay, inshallah, next lesson 100%. Um, the story is, it's been narrated that Amr ibn Ubayd, who was one of the famous misguided individuals from old, who believed and who used to propagate the Jahmi methodology, which includes or necessitates denying or not accepting that Allah speaks. So the Jahmiyyah and the Mu'tazila, they say Allah has no attributes. Or they say Allah doesn't speak because we speak. That's what they say. Okay, so for that reason, they say the Quran has been created. Now, of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the Quran that He has spoken to Musa directly. Allah says, وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا. وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا. Now, this person, he came to one of the famous reciters of the Quran and he said to him, I want you to read, instead of وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ with a dhamma, why don't you read وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهَ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا? So that the meaning of the ayah becomes, and Musa spoke to Allah, and not Allah spoke to Musa. Okay, he's trying to convince him, saying to him that, this is affecting our aqidah, right? You got it wrong. Allah didn't say, وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا. Allah said, وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهَ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا. So he wanted to convince this Qari to change his recitation so that he can use the ayah as a proof for his misguidance. Now look at how the fatha and dhamma is now the difference between guidance and misguidance, bid'ah and sunnah. But you know what this reciter said to him? He said to him, okay, for the sake of argument, if I were to do that, what are you going to do with Allah's statement, وَكَلَّمَهُ رَبُّهُ? وَكَلَّمَهُ رَبُّهُ. What are you going to do with that? It's the ayah. So the mubtadi' just became quiet and walked away. Why? Because that ayah, you can't change it and say وَكَلَّمَهُ رَبَّهُ. You can't say that. Why? Because كَلَّمَهُ already has the object or the maf'ul bihi, the person who got spoken to. It is already attached to the verb كَلَّمَهُ. You can't say رَبَّهُ because then you're going to have two people that were spoken to, which is, so who spoke to Musa and Allah then? Is the third person will be involved. So you can't really do that. So that's how he made him quiet. He used another ayah from the Quran, and by way of i'rab and nahw, he made him quiet. Again, showing you this story, I just wanted to share it because it shows you the importance of what? Of i'rab. Bi-idhnillah al-kareem, in next lesson, we are going to continue with this, inshallah ta'ala. We're going to practice more and more and more. Right now, inshallah, of course, you need to go to the portal for the registered students that you need to practice. For those of you that have not yet enrolled, I want to share something with you. Some good news. Okay, which is that, of course, it could be for many reasons why you have not yet enrolled. Some of you might still be on the fence. Of course, the purpose of today's class is to allow you to make a decision that is based on first-hand experience and make a decision if you want to enroll for this course or not. An informed decision. That's what the purpose of today's lesson was. I hope that you enjoyed today's class. But having said that, I'm going to give you even more reasons, inshallah ta'ala, to enroll, inshallah ta'ala, as soon as possible. And this is something, inshallah, that hopefully should be a no-brainer. So what we've done, inshallah, is I'm going to share this with you right now. I'm going to share this link with you. We have this bundle page because, as you know, one of the things that we've done for this particular code we've never done before is we have bundled two courses together, Sarf al-Saghir and Nahw al-Saghir. You got both of them for the price of one, which is on this page, and I'm going to share the link with you. in the Zoom chat, inshallah, and also on WhatsApp. And what I wanted to say is that we have a plan or an option here. If you click on it, you're going to see here 7-day trial plus 2 payments of £28 per month. So you'll get access to the self-paced, which includes all the exercises. It's not the premium, obviously. The premium cohort, we can't give a 7-day trial on that because then seats are limited and we might have to turn other people away while some people are just trying out the course. That doesn't make sense. But for the self-paced, you have the option to go for the 7-day trial, which starts from the moment that you enroll. So you have 7 whole days from now up until next week, right? You can attend another 2 lectures. You can do the exercises and you can see it for yourself. And then within those 7 days, if you cancel, you will not be charged an extra penny. So 7-day trial for just £1. Okay, you have to pay £1 because I can't give a just to show that you're serious. Otherwise, what's going to happen is we're going to end up with 600 people on the WhatsApp group, which is a problem. So a £1 trial. So you will not be charged anything more than £1 for the first 7 days. You can go online, you can cancel it anytime. Yes. Once you do that, and I'm gonna pay for it here, gonna sign up for my own course, just to show you the experience or where it will take you. So once you do that, what's gonna happen is it will take you directly to the portal. Once you get to the portal, you're gonna have the option there to do a placement test, okay, which will be marked. And the reason we put the placement test behind the paywall is because it takes time from us to mark it. A teacher marks it, gives you feedback. So you can't just give the placement test to everyone. But inshallah, if you show your serious commitment by buying the course, the moment you buy it, it's going to send you to the My Courses page, and that's where you should find access to the course. So scroll down if you need to. Obviously, I'm scroll to 1,000,001 courses, and you'll find it here. So here we have the Nahw Essentials course and the Sarf Essentials course, both of them available for you in the portal. Now let's go to the Nahw. Let's go to the Sarf Essentials for now because there's a lot of access, there's a lot of content there. Once you go there, 1 minute, I thought I was signed in. Which one did we just buy? I think, yeah, this one. Okay, it says 0% complete. You go there and then this becomes continue. You click on it, it'll take you directly to the portal. First thing you do is you watch the welcome video where I show you the portal and how to use it and everything. Then you can do the placement test. Okay. And if you want to, you don't have to. And then you could do the pre-course survey. When you fill out this survey, it just asks you a few questions. And that will then redirect you to the WhatsApp group. So you come to the private WhatsApp group. You have the PDF here for the Nahw Saghir. You have the explanation here as well. And here, you're going to have all of the exercises. Okay, you're going to have the lectures, you're going to have the flashcards, you're going to have the practice activities, you're going to have the mind maps. As you see, everything is going to be available here on the portal, inshallah. So I don't see what would hold you back, inshallah, from trying it out. Try it out, inshallah ta'ala. You have 7 days. If it's not for you, you can cancel anytime within the first 7 days and you will not be charged a penny. Of course, if you want to sign up for the premium cohort here, then I'll give you the link to that as well. You can do that as well, inshallah. But for those of you that want the self-paced, then I advise you to benefit from that. This will be valid up until Saturday. After Saturday, when we do the second lecture, there's no point people joining late, right? So all of these offers and whatever and what we're doing in the trials is to get you to sign up ASAP so you don't miss out. Okay? The placement test used to be time limited, but we removed the time limit. We removed the time limit because of too many complaints. So there you have the link. This offer is valid until Saturday. You come Sunday morning, you will not find it. Okay, just so that you know. Benefit from it. It's a £1 trial. If you want, you can cancel anytime within the first 7 days. You won't be charged a penny extra. And if you continue to benefit from the course, then even then you'll be charged only £28 per month. You won't even charge the full amount in one go. You'll be charged £28 after 7 days, and then £28 30 days after that. Okay? Barakallah feekum. Okay. Barakallah fikum. Any questions before we go to the workshop? We're going to break up for the workshop, inshallah, for those of you that are enrolled. Sisters, Ustad Sarah will be waiting for you. We're actually really late. We're meant to be with her at 10:30. She'll be waiting for you, inshallah ta'ala, in the workshop. And today is just getting to know each other. Nothing specific, no long workshop, nothing. Just get to know each other, a little bit of Arabic speaking. The brothers, I'll see you on the workshop. And inshallah, from Saturday onwards, we're going to have the practice activities inside the workshop. Okay? Any questions? Where can we sign up for the live lesson? Yes, so if you want the live cohort link, I'll share that with you as well. No problem. Just give me a moment. Bismillah. Of course, the live cohort, the difference between self-paced and live cohort is for the live cohort, you can practice and partake in the workshops, and all of your homework is marked by a teacher. Those are the main differences. Okay? Your homework is marked, and you also get to join the workshops. So I'm going to share that link in the chat for those of you that wanted the premium cohort. And I'll share everything on the WhatsApp group as well, inshallah. So don't worry. Okay? Um, is that the correct link? Barakallah feekum. So when you do enroll, make sure that you join the WhatsApp groups, inshallah, because that's where you will get support, inshallah. Okay? Barakallah feekum. I'll see you all of you next lesson, inshallah ta'ala. I hope to see you in the workshops and in future classes. Before you leave, please, if you can, leave some feedback. Okay, so go back to WooClap, feedback, questions, and suggestions. Feel free to share that with us, inshallah. We try our best, but we might have missed out on something. Please share that with us. Okay? Barakallah feekum. Yes, for the brothers that are praying Maghrib, no problem, inshallah. I'll hang around in the workshop. I'll wait for you, inshallah. Just message on the WhatsApp group. Okay? Sisters, check the WhatsApp group, inshallah, as well for the link. Okay? Barakallahu feekum. Those of you that have enrolled, have not yet joined the WhatsApp group, like I said, go to the portal, do the pre-class survey, and it will redirect you to the WhatsApp group, inshallah. Okay? And like I said, please do leave your feedback and your questions and your suggestions on WooClap. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. See you soon. You mentioned another course for beginners Arabic after Eid. Yes. Yes, inshallah.